If you didn't hear yesterday, actor Jonathan Majors was found guilty of 2 of the charges, harassment and what was the other one? And
reckless assault.
So he was found guilty of harassment and reckless assault, and he will be charged in February. He faces up to a year in jail. And just hours after this happened, Marvel said, "You're out of here," and they fired him.
I don't know if it was even hours. I think that when we reported on the breaking news of his guilty verdict, it was only seconds later that we saw that the MCU dropped him. So that was their whole contingency plan in the first place, is if he's found guilty, we're dropping him. If he's found innocent, we're not.
Yeah, so
a lot of people would call it a lucky coincidence that the ending of Loki season 2 left his fate an open question. But would you say that that was intentional on the part of the MCU writers?
No, I don't think so.
Just lucky?
Yeah, lucky.
Well, they're either going to recast him or just erase him from the storyline altogether. What do you see happening?
So this is what I was reading this article here. This was from over at Cosmic Book News. It says Avengers 5 replaces Kang Dynasty. They have fired Jonathan Majors. It says following the guilty verdict, Marvel and Disney proceeded to quickly fire the actor. It has been confirmed by the trades that Jonathan Majors will no longer play Kang. In November, Marvel hired Loki creator Michael Waldron to work on a new draft of what was once called Kang Dynasty, but is now being just referred to as Avengers 5. The studio
They'll workshop that.
The studio has had months to plan for such an eventuality, and it's possible that Waldron was part of the course correction. So I think that they've been working on this ahead of time.
So regardless of what the verdict was going to be, you thought Jonathan Majors was going to get dropped anyway?
I think they wanted to have the backup plan just in case, and it clearly proved to be worth it.
Well, I mean, why can't they just recast him? I immediately after this verdict came in saw John Boyega's name was trending. A lot of people want John Boyega. Aldous Hodge was trending. Yahya Abdul-Mateen was trending. So there are a lot of ideas for who to recast him as. I think we should get Eric July in there.
Yes, we could get Eric
July as Kang.
I wonder how much John Boyega would want to go back and work for a Disney company again after.
Has he said anything to suggest otherwise?
I don't think he's. I think he's expressed a certain amount of regret over all that happened with Star Wars. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I thought he had said something to that nature. But it says they could end up recasting him, and I just think that maybe they weren't all that strong. They didn't feel all that strongly on how the storyline was going anyways. So this offers them the perfect excuse to course correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not putting much thought into the MCU storylines anyway. It's all just a crapshoot from what it looks like.
Yep.
And this is just another problem for Marvel, but a big problem for Jonathan Majors. I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's the other thing for Marvel is like, what a bad year. Other than Guardians of the Galaxy doing well, and not even all that well by Marvel standards, Quantumania bombed. What was the other one? The Marvels bombed.
Yes.
Nobody really cared about the television shows. They didn't do super well. Loki season 2 got good reviews, but the numbers on all of these shows are going down, down, down. Disney Plus subscription growth isn't going the way they want it to. They're having a very hard time figuring out how to get out of this rut that they themselves have created.
Is Disney Plus losing more subscribers than it's gaining?
No, it's just the growth is just stalled, and they're not making the numbers that they said they wanted to make by 2024.
I mean, they're not going to be the next Netflix. It's not happening.
Nope.
And another name that I immediately saw trending after Jonathan Majors got fired was Ezra Miller, because people, for some reason, they think that Marvel and DC are the same thing. So a lot of people were questioning, why is Jonathan Majors facing these consequences, getting dropped by Marvel, whereas Ezra Miller, with his own criminal track record, has seemingly faced no consequences and hasn't been fired by DC. Well, he was fired by DC in effect. If we think about the direction that DC is going, he's not going to get any more the Flash movies, I presume. So he's out of DC anyway, just by default. That's probably why they didn't go to the effort of firing him outright.
Yeah, they just waited till it was over.
Yeah, it had an expiration date anyway. But I saw some tweets about Ezra Miller in response to this, saying, Ezra Miller, don't think for 1 second you're off the hook, bitch. Your downfall is next. Another said, Ezra Miller looking at everyone happy that Jonathan Majors was found guilty when they were literally on the run from the law at one point. And another one, this is where I get frustrated. People are making Jonathan Majors getting found guilty in a court of law into a race thing.
Of course.
They're making this whole thing into a race thing from the very start to the end. So here is this other tweet. If you're a black man in America, the best advice is good luck at this point. Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, was accused of threatening to kill his wife. Josh Brolin, Thanos, was accused of hitting his wife. Robert Downey Jr., no comment there. And Ezra Miller, again, no comment. I mean, his rap sheet of criminal activity has seemingly no end.
Yeah, but he's
this
not
is
getting
all
convicted
just
for any of this stuff.
accusations and arrests. There's no conviction for any of these people on the stated accusations. Accusations don't equal convictions. Yeah. So there's that. But I mean, this has been racialized from the very beginning. People almost blamed Jonathan Majors for being in a relationship with a white woman.
That's Twitter speak, though. That's racial Twitter.
That's like, you're literally out of your head if you think that, you know, getting into a relationship that is like mixed race relationship means that you're deserving of going to jail.
There was also there was no way to fire Ezra Miller in any way that would have actually benefited the property because the movie had to come out either way.
Right. And it was
already shot.
In production
They'd already
hell.
done extensive reshoots on the property. If anything, they were just trying to stall the problems until the film got out and put it on the back burner as much as possible and then downplay it. Remember, they weren't even going to put him in any of the promotional material, but he ended up at some of the events. He was still allowed to speak at the world premiere for The Flash.
Did you hear about these accusations against Jeremy Renner and Josh Brolin?
Yes. Not the Josh
before.
Brolin one, but the Jeremy Renner ones I have.
Yeah, I just see Jeremy Renner's ex-wife claims he threatened to kill her and put a gun in his mouth. About Josh Brolin, I don't see anything there, but Robert Downey Jr. was just like drug charges.
But before he worked for Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a lot different than if you're in the post-Me Too era in Hollywood. They have to watch out for things like that.
Yep.
I don't think any of these are comparable situations.
I was trying to think of anything that's happened recently. So a lot of it, what we always end up talking about are allegations, right? I don't remember the last time there was such a case where it actually went to court, they actually went to trial, and then they were actually found guilty. I can't think of a comparable case that's happened in recent memory other than Weinstein being found guilty however many years ago. And there's no other real strong examples that would actually show you, like, look, this guy was a star on the rise. He then got his career destroyed by actually going to court and being convicted. We've seen plenty of people have their careers destroyed over allegations.
Well, you could actually see more examples of careers getting ruined by allegations and not criminal convictions. There are more cases of that than actors getting convicted and having their careers ruined because of it. Because look at Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
There's just an example that's right in your face. He got convicted of a rape charge, and not only no one remembers that, but also this flies in the face of the idea that Jonathan Majors is being racially discriminated against because Mike Tyson is also black.
For the Mike Tyson thing, there's a time gap there. There's a very large time gap between when he rebuilt his career post boxing and when he was actually in jail. Like there's nothing to suggest that Jonathan Majors won't be able to have a comeback years later after all of this is passed.
He's definitely not going to
He was also not.
Same heights.
He was never the same level of star as Mike Tyson. Not even close. Mike Tyson was an icon in the '80s, so it's not really the same thing.
From the way Jonathan Majors was talking about himself,
saw himself as an icon.
He probably saw himself as an icon, or at least an icon on the rise, and that's not going to be the case for him anymore. Can you think of any other examples in recent history where somebody's actually ended up in court and this has happened? Who has been to court recently? Johnny Depp went to court
Amber
That's
Heard.
different, though, because it's a civil trial,
Exactly. So-
not a criminal trial.
So that seemed to have a certain amount of repercussions on Amber Heard, a little bit, but it's not like she was fired from Aquaman. But they did make all of the time in the movie very, very difficult for the people that are going to be watching it. They removed her from the trailers, so they definitely were hedging their bets against her on that to remove her from the trailers.
I just think the idea that Ezra Miller was protected by Warner Brothers because he is white, not because he is a gender goblin, is patently insane. He was protected because of his trendy identity and his androgynous look.
I wonder if it's also possible that maybe he ends up, like, do you think he's going to get jail time?
Ezra Miller?
No, Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors could face up to a year, says the court, but I doubt that will happen.
Okay, so is it possible that he pays a fine and they rehire him later?
Marvel, no, I don't think so, but he'll get other projects.
Because I think, and again, this is not a court case, so it's not the same thing, but I think to what happened with James Gunn, who got into all the trouble because of the tweets, the pedo tweets, right? And then Marvel fires him, Disney fires him. He goes and he does the Suicide Squad for DC, which is always funny to me that they're like, we'll take you. But then Marvel rehires him.
And they come crawling back later
Marvel
on.
rehires him after the dust is settled. People have short memories. People have unbelievably short attention spans. I also don't know how much I buy the average person in the population actually knows that Jonathan Majors is Kang and that Kang got arrested for domestic violence.
I bet more people know about that than they knew about Ezra Miller's misdoings. Nobody even knows who these people are, like in the real world.
Yes, that are not in
moviegoers don't pay attention to all these headlines.
That are not in the entertainment bubble like we are right now with everything that we talk about every day. I'm still shocked that this ended up going to court. I still can't believe that they didn't also try her. Actually, no, I can believe it. I shouldn't say that I can't believe it, but I can believe it. But they should have tried both of them.
It once again brings up the question of who lands higher on the oppression totem pole. Is it race or is it gender?
That's the question for the ages, right? Like if he's a black actor, then they should hold him. They should just find him guilty because of that. If he's gay or trans, then that's held to a different standard. Everybody's held to a different standard based on who they know in the industry. Is it also possible that Ezra Miller is just protected for other reasons?
What reasons would those be? He's not really this immensely powerful player in Hollywood.
He wasn't ever supposed to be, like, after they knew that they were rebooting the universe, he wasn't going to be a major player anyways because they were getting rid of all of those characters that were brought in through Zack Snyder's property anyways. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like people are analyzing this to death and it'll be forgotten very quickly.
Yeah.
If not never paid attention to in the first place.
Yep, we'll see where it goes, but I think they end up just using it as an opportunity to redo the storyline, and what they'll end up doing is probably doing something like Doctor Doom, but we'll wait and see. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.